All right, so welcome everybody to Write It Right, session number 8. We are almost done. We've got 2 more sessions to go, and the last session, inshallah, will be our test. Okay, for those who attend for the first time, make sure you watch the previous videos, read the PDFs, and if you have any question, you can ask these questions anytime. Then get ready for the test at the end. All right, so today's topic will be also about essay types. Last time we discussed that. 1 second here. Last time we discussed the argumentative essay, right? And today, inshallah, we continue the types that we have. Before we continue, I'd like you guys to type in the chat box what are the steps of writing. If you think that writing is a process, what are the steps? What is step 1? Please type in the chat box. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on and so forth. Perfect. So to have ideas, Manal, do you think this is the first thing? Now, a teacher or a professor gave you a topic, will give you an assignment, and the assignment has 2 topics. Okay, what will be your first step?
Brainstorming.
Brainstorming is one of the steps, right? But what's the first step? Now we have 2 topics. Technically, you will choose one of them, right? Which topic would you choose? If you have 2 topics,
The
tell
topic
me,
which we have more ideas about it.
this is number
Not
1.
not the topic
Or
we like to write about.
so it can be a topic that you like and have more ideas about, but preferably you would go with the one that you know more,
Ideas.
right?
Yeah.
And you need to have also more vocabulary to cover the topic. That's perfect. So this is number 1. Agreed said knowing the topic, choosing the topic. That's right. The one I have background information on. Right. So I chose one of the topics. What's step 2? Step 2,
Brainstorming.
brainstorming. After I brainstorm, what does brainstorming mean first? Brainstorming means
To gather the ideas in our try to collect more ideas about the topic and decide what we will talk, what will we write about it in it. Sorry.
perfect, Amani. Amani, could you please just hold on? Let's give a chance to other people to participate as well. Your answers are great. Thank you.
I'm
So
really sorry.
no problem. It's not a sorry thing. Now the brainstorming means generating more ideas. Okay, generating as much or as many ideas as you can within a short period of time. So you need to generate more ideas in a very short period of time, right? Can you please type in the chat box 1 or 2 or 3 types of brainstorming techniques? What's one brainstorming technique? In the chat box, please. That's right, Samah. Perfect. Listing, clustering, and free writing. So listing means what? Okay, let's go quickly over this slide. And here, as we said, as you guys mentioned, that we need to select the topic, understand the title, brainstorm, and then you start writing your outline. Okay, start writing your outline. Why is writing an outline important? Can anybody tell me why is it important? That's right. Listing means writing a list. Perfect, Samah. Amani, your answer is correct. Listing, mapping, or free writing. Why is writing an outline important? It's a roadmap to your writing. Perfect, agree. Ask WH questions around the topic. Yeah. What kind of brainstorming is that? Can you tell me? Shape our writing piece. Right. So you structure it. You find the most important pieces of information or ideas and you put them together in a structure. Perfect. So what are the types of outlining? We have two types of outlining. Can anybody tell me what are these? Simple and detailed. What is a simple outline and what is a detailed outline? I could see some people are participating. If you're not feeling okay with typing, you can raise your hand and then you can talk. That's fine. You still have a chance to do that. Simple means just notes or headlines, right, of what you're going to write about. So, for example, in the introduction, you need to have a hook, background information, and thesis. So these will be the subtitle, right? And detailed, you will write your own details, right? The details, the points that you will be mentioning in the final piece. Perfect. That's perfect. Now we wrote an outline. We, after writing the first outline, it can I know who is that? The one who just texted me because I couldn't see any name. Could you please text me your name? So um, moving back, we wrote the outline. Then we will be writing our first draft. And the first draft here is the first time you write your piece. Perfect. Ali, the certificate will be at the end of the course. So we will have uh, two more classes, and then we will have a test at the end, and then you will get the certificate if you get 75%. Okay? It's very important to attend it, and it's very, very, uh, it will be a very good test at the end because it will cover all what we've covered in this course. Thank you. Thank you, Ali. All right. So we write an essay, as we mentioned, which is the first draft. After writing our first draft, we will be doing two things. You're checking your work, and then you submit your work. Checking your work here means you proofread it. So you see if everything is right, spelling is okay. And also you will be checking for punctuation, and you will be checking for ideas. Are your ideas relevant? Is there a cohesion and a coherence in the text or in the essay you've written or not? This is very, very important as well. Okay. Now, moving to the brainstorming, we mentioned that there are three types of brainstorming, as you guys mentioned. Clustering, which is this way, or mind mapping. You can call it clustering or mind mapping. Both are the same. Okay. And you start by writing the topic in the middle and then start branching out the ideas that you think are relevant to the topic. Then you go to, or another type is listing, which is writing a list of the ideas you have. And the last type is rewriting. Now, these types have advantages and disadvantages. Can anybody tell me one advantage of clustering? One advantage of clustering. Yeah, Amani, the course will end in 2 sessions. So we have 2 more weeks, and then we will end this course. Inshallah, we can organize or plan, schedule another course, okay, and which will be a higher level than this course, because this course is for intermediate level, and I noticed that some of you know most of the stuff, so we might have an advanced course. Another suggestion is to start speaking course, okay, and speaking using teaching speaking, not only discussions and conversations. All right. Right. So some of you said here organized. Tagreed said it's organized. Yeah, it's organized. You could see the ideas here. You can generate, as Manal said, as many ideas as you can. You can rearrange your ideas. It's easy to move your ideas around. Okay, so that's perfect. We will be doing that, Manal, and we'll invite other teachers as well to help. Perfect. Thank you, Manal. Now, what about listing? What's one advantage of listing? Listing here in this side. Can you see it? What's one advantage of listing? type, or you can raise your hand and speak up. Listing is more organized, right, and easy to get your points because you could see your ideas right here, and they are put in order. That's perfect. That's perfect, Sama. And your ideas will be clear for you to see if you wanted to memorize them. Also, that's correct, Sarah. That's perfect. You could also check out the ideas, like I've done this, I have done this, I covered this or not. So it will be easier for you. Also, it will be easier if you wanted to renumber them 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. So based on what you've written, right? Perfect. Now let's move to the last type, which is free writing. And what's one advantage of free writing and what's one disadvantage? Let's look at the advantages first. What's one advantage of free writing? Saves time. Someone will disagree with you, Sarah, with free writing. Some people would say, no, it doesn't save time. Hmm. Let's see if anybody agrees or disagrees here with Sarah. Free writing saves time. Sorry, I'm sorry. This is Samah. Samah said free writing saves time. Do you guys agree? Manel said you have many sentences, so you may extend the sentences only, right? This can be one option. What do you? Okay, free writing. We mean by free writing, you just write everything that comes to your mind about the topic. If I ask you to write about pollution or smoking or uh, job market, anything like that, you start writing everything that comes to your mind without thinking of the vocabulary, without thinking of the grammar or the organization. You just write everything that comes to your mind. Okay, so we still have, it helps you when you're lost and undecided about the course of writing. So that's right, Tagri. Usually, if you don't find enough ideas here and here using these two techniques, okay. So I'm trying to generate ideas about a topic, and it's really hard to generate them. I tried clustering, mind mapping. I tried listing. Still not. I'm not getting enough. Free writing will be easier for you to generate ideas because you're writing everything that comes to your mind. So it will be smoother to generate ideas. Okay, that's perfect. Uh, yeah, looking at if it saves time or not. Imagine you have a piece of writing like this, but now you need to underline and find the relevant ideas. Okay, because you will be writing everything that comes to your mind. Maybe your idea is not relevant. Maybe the spelling is wrong. So you will need to underline, highlight, pick, and choose the most relevant idea. Okay? Once you're done that, you can put these ideas into an outline. Then you will be moving from an outline to writing the first draft. If you look here, now it's a full piece. It's a paragraph here. But for this one, this wouldn't take as much time as this one would take, right? So you, as if you're writing the text twice, as if you're writing the essay once, then you're picking up the ideas, putting these ideas into an outline, then taking these ideas from the outline, putting them in order and putting them into your first draft. So it doesn't save time. Okay, it needs lots of time, but it's more effective if you're stuck with ideas because we need to be intelligent when we're writing, especially those who have an IELTS test or CELPIP or TOEFL or any of these tests. Now you have a specific time, okay, or limited time to finish this task. Sometimes people start writing or clustering the ideas, generating ideas, but oh, they got two ideas. And then they start, oh, I have to think more, I have to think more, and they waste time. They should quickly transition to this way or so this technique of free writing, write all the ideas that comes to their mind, then they can pick and put them into the outline. Okay, so We shouldn't say waste time. It needs more time. Okay. So actually, it doesn't save time. As the end, you will have to organize it. So it doesn't save time. That's right. Free writing is messier. It's messier, right? I agree with you, Tagreed, but still, it will generate more ideas, and this is the key. This is the reason why we do brainstorming. Again, remember, brainstorming means generating as many ideas as you can in the shortest period of time. So you try to get as many as you can. Then you can, gauge or weigh or evaluate the ideas after that and pick and choose. So by free writing, Abdul Majid, we write everything that comes to our mind. Just write everything that comes to your mind without thinking of the grammar or of the vocabulary. We do this in order to generate ideas before we start writing. Okay? So if I give you a task, or if you give your students a task and you ask them, write about the problem of pollution, maybe in Cairo. Okay? And they start generating ideas which say, yeah, we have water pollution, we have air pollution, we have noise pollution, what else? And they stuck. Then you can ask them to do the free writing, because when they do the free writing, it will be easier for them to write everything that comes to their mind. So they write, we have air pollution, cars are running, smokes are coming out of the cars. Don't pay attention to grammar, don't pay attention to vocabulary, just pay attention to generating more ideas in the shortest period of time. Yeah, generally, Manal says here, you might generate ideas that you may not use. Absolutely. In all of these types, you generate more ideas than you would use. So you generated, look at these lines. Imagine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 lines means 10 different ideas. Do you think this person will be including 10 paragraphs? For sure not. You will pick the idea that you know more about, that you have more ideas or more vocabulary to express. Then this will be your first idea, or second or third, depending on what you want or how you want to organize it. Here, you will also be generating more ideas that you will not use. You just focus on generating the ideas first, then evaluating them in the second stage or the second step. It's not a draft. The draft will be the next step. So you generated the ideas, you collected, you said, okay, I couldn't see here, but you could say that this is a good idea, this is a good idea, this is a good idea. These are 3 pieces, right? So you will take these 3 pieces, put them in an outline. Okay? Then why do you put them in an outline? Because when you put them in an outline, it will be easier for you to add details to the ideas, to give examples, to get statistics about them. Okay, it will be easier for you when they are in the outline to move them about. So you could say that this will be my first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, right? Then you might think, oh my God, the last paragraph is more important. I know more about it. So let me move it to the first paragraph of the body. Then the second paragraph will be the same, or you can move it down. So the benefit of having an outline is that you can move ideas about, and you can incorporate, add more details as you go. Okay? That's right. That's right. So, Ahmed, Mr. Ahmed Hassan, this is an intermediate course, okay? So we're trying to use daily life language. We could use these words, but we don't want to use them. We just want to communicate the ideas. Thank you. This is right. Now, moving to the types we were discussing last time, we talked about argumentative essay, and we discussed it. And usually when we have an argumentative essay, we do include, or you want to test your students. So you give them an argumentative essay to test how they can form an opinion via research. They need to do some research. You need also to test them on how they can build their evidence, okay, or evidence build an argument based sorry build an evidence based argument. Okay, now this is an example of the prompt you might have, and we have covered this already last time. Okay, let me just admit those people. No problem. No problem. You can go out. I understand sometimes internet problems happen. Okay. All right. So moving on. Today, inshallah, we're going to look at expository essay. What is an expository essay? And when can we use an expository essay? If you look at this table in the back here, you'll find that expository essay means that you give them a test because you wanted to test the knowledge of a topic. So you want to test your students' understanding or knowledge of a topic. Expository essays can be used generally if you're teaching history and geography, or if you're giving a topic that is of interest. Let's say that now, because we have COVID and everybody's been through COVID for a while, and your students know about COVID, they know vocabulary about COVID, you might ask them to write an expository essay. What, like a question would be, what are the negative impacts of COVID on economy? So now you're testing their knowledge about this topic, okay? You're also testing how they can communicate what they understand. You would say basically that many people lost their jobs or many factories closed, okay? The economy was negatively impacted. All of this is good. Now you're testing how they can put this into sentences and how can they put this into paragraphs, okay? Explain, this is a prompt, this is one of the questions, so you can ask them, explain how the invention of printing press changed European society in the 15th century. So this can be a topic if you're looking at how printing press changed the European society. And this will be our topic that we'll be discussing today. Here, so expository means exposing. You are testing them on how they can expose ideas or provide evidence or provide a clear focused explanation of a particular topic, okay, or a process. You can ask them, can you please write, can you tell me the steps of how to make a pizza? So this can be a good topic for expository essay. So they will tell you, or they write that first we need to prepare the dough, then we can get the toppings, put them on top. Now you want them to put this in a paragraph. How can we make a dough? How can we prepare the toppings? This will be the second paragraph. Third paragraph, how can we bake it? Or how long will it take to bake it? So these are three paragraphs, and you're testing them on how they can do that. Also, you can, it does not set out to prove a point. So it's not an argumentative essay. You're not asking your students to prove that this is the only way a pizza could be made, okay? You're just trying to help them, okay? You're just asking them to explain it in a plain language. And what I mean by plain here is expository essay is usually, they call it the high school essay. So they use it in high school to test students, to test their knowledge at the end of a semester or at the end of the term. And this is something that I used to do when I was teaching high school. At the end of the term, you give them a topic, tell them, now you need to write about this specific topic. Tell me what you've understood throughout the year, okay? Usually you pick a topic that is of interest to most students, okay? Don't pick a topic that is very far-fetched, so they will struggle with it. Again, expository essay is not meant for proving a point. Then expository essay tests your familiarity, as we said, with a topic and the ability to organize or convey information. They are commonly assigned at high school, as we mentioned. So let's move to an expository essay and more about it. So sometimes it won't be directly stated that in the assignment that this is an assessment or an expository essay. But there are certain keywords that imply expository writing is required. So words like explain, words like explore. For example, this is a question here. How the invention of printing press changed the European society in the 15th century, okay? Or if I wanted you to write a topic, explain the process of making a pizza. Or what's another topic here? Let me just admit those guys here. Abdul asks a very good question. Is an expository essay different from a descriptive essay? They consider a descriptive essay a type of expository essays. So you generally don't ask students to write an expository essay. You ask them to write an essay about cause and effect, or how the impact of something on the society. So this can be a topic of them. We will come to that in the coming slides, Abdul Majid. We use the type to make students to give their knowledge about something they have studied. That's perfect. That's perfect. Right. So you have a topic. You have introduced any topic, social topic or economic topic, or something that is related to students. You could uh, maybe ask students to write about the impact of friendship, okay, on your classmate or your relation with classmate. So this is one of the topic we asked one of this, like a group of students here to write. We wrote it because it was relevant to what they were doing. One of the students found, or he thought that others are not interested in befriending with him. Okay, so he used to sit by himself aside. He doesn't want to talk to them. He doesn't want to participate in class with them. So this was very interesting topic. We asked them to write about how the relation outside the classroom will impact the relation inside. And this will be very interesting because this student wrote what he feels, and then he shared it with other classmates, and it was very beneficial at that time. Okay, so here the word explain, I don't know if we have it here. So how inventing the printing press changed the European society in the 15th century. Okay, there was another topic, but it was omitted, so just forget about the last part here. Now, what are the 5 main types of expository essay? And this is related to what Abdul Majid just mentioned. The first type is descriptive essay. So descriptive essay is a type of expository writing. So in this essay, you are asked, or you ask your students to describe something that happened. You can ask them to describe a process of doing something, or describe a person or a place or experience or a situation. And when you ask them to describe an experience or a situation, it overlaps with a narrative essay. Okay. If you wanted to read more about that, I can provide you a PDF to write a difference between when you this. Excuse me, can you please mute yourself, guys?
لا ما تاكلش.
Okay, back to class. So you could ask them to describe a person, okay, and it's a very good activity actually. A person here, you describe them both physically and on a character basis, on a character level, a place, experience, situation. Also, 1 second here. Yeah, you could ask them to write to describe the process of learning online or studying online. So they would go with the teacher will send a link for the Zoom or Teams. Then this happens. Then in the class we would be doing that. This is a very interesting one. Okay, so descriptive essays are unique in the sense that you have a lot of freedom when it comes to the content. So you can write anything as long as it's relevant and as long as it's logic. And this is very important when you teach small kids. Okay, if you're teaching younger kids and you ask them to write about an experience, they might write about imaginary stuff, things that they imagine. So you don't need to criticize the ideas here. You just want to make sure that the language is correct. As long as you can understand it, okay, that's perfectly fine. And this is something I need to communicate to teachers here. Giving feedback has times and places, and you guys know that. And it's not okay that we're not here, we're not in the class to prove that students are wrong. We are in the class because we are trying to help them improve. So if you see that they have made a mistake, don't judge it, give them a chance to improve it. Okay, you might ask them to review that again, but don't give like on the spot feedback unless you're looking at uh, you know when you can give it, right? So you should present something exciting or beautiful to keep the reader interesting. And here we come to the descriptive language using um, metaphors. Sometimes you could use personification. Sometimes you use, or you should use lots and lots of adjectives and adverbs related to what you're writing. Another topic or another type of expository essay is a process essay, and this is the classic of how to create a Facebook account, and this is very interesting. And you can give this topic or assign this topic to your students. How can you create a PDF, okay, or how can you join a meeting? This is very interesting, and this will engage your student as well. The purpose of this essay is to teach the reader about the process or a learning process, how to build a car maybe, or how to edit a paper. Um, Iman says, describe an accident happened to you and how you could survive. That's a very good one as well. So this can be overlapping. It can be a descriptive or it can be a narrative. And there are differences between them, very slight differences. That's a good one. Also, you could, another type of an expository essay is a comparison essay. And in this name, as the name shows you, you need to compare and contrast between two things: the United States and Canada in climate, or industry or whatever topic is. Okay. Another type here is cause and effect essay, and this is part or a type of the expository essay. And here is, they call it the knee jerk. It's this is the cause, this is the effect. Okay, so you're focusing here on mentioning the causes and effects of a specific thing. So one of the interesting topics that we currently ask students to write, you write about a cause and effect. We don't ask them specifically to write this. You should ask them in a different way, saying how transforming to online studying affected your personal life. So now they are looking at the effects of it. Okay, there are different types of cause and effects. There is only causes, only effects, or causes and effects. It depends on what you want the student to write. Okay, so you're looking at what causes and what causes something, or what are the effects of something. Okay, let me read this here. The essay differs from one to one, depends on the description, or I got confused. I couldn't get your question, so Isra, could you please rephrase it or retype it? Yeah, that's perfectly correct, Ahmed. So you could use a cause and effect essay to ask students to write about what are the causes and effects of pollution on global warming, or you could ask them what are the causes and effects of global warming. Usually, we try to avoid using the word cause and effect. How does something impact something? Does the essay differ? If you mean the descriptive and the narrative, yes, they are different, because the descriptive is focusing more on writing creative language, using more adjectives and adverbs to create a vivid imagery to the reader. So when I read it, I see what you're talking about. A narrative is focusing on the narration of the story of what happened. I see details, but I don't see much details as it is in the descriptive essay. So they are different types. Moving to the last type here, and it's the problem solution essay. And this is a universal standard prompt assignment for high school or university students, as we mentioned. In this situation, we have a problem and we're looking at different solutions. And if you remember, some emails or letters could be a problem solving, problem solution email or essay. How is that? Sometimes you ask a student that your city has a problem with garbage. Okay, so people are throwing garbage all around the streets and stuff. Write an email to the governor to ask him or to explain how this problem could be solved. So they might write an introduction, greeting the governor, then going to the paragraph 1, explaining the problem, paragraph 2, giving a solution or offering solutions. This can be in a form of an email, or it can be also in a form of an essay. So it will be an introduction, hook, background information, and thesis. And usually the thesis will be what are the proposed solutions. And then in the body, you will be giving either writing one paragraph about the problem, explaining the problem in detail, or if you've covered the problem in the introduction, then you will give solution number 1, then solution number 2, and give suggestions and explain how this suggestion would work. Okay, so here are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types of an expository essay, and we will be looking at some of them, inshallah, in the coming weeks. But now, how can we approach an expository essay? Avoid using I and we or you. Don't use personal pronouns when you write an expository essay. Okay, you should take an objective approach, because if you look back here, it's a descriptive essay, so you're describing things. Okay, you're not including yourself in there. Process, you're also giving a description of the process, how things happen, comparing, contrasting, cause and effect, problem solving. This also, all of these are very good ways, or sorry, are very you don't usually need pronouns. You don't usually need I think or I do. Okay, in this one, for the problem, if you wanted to suggest a solution, you could say one of the solutions could be so and so, and we could, or the government should do so and so. Okay, so moving on here, it should have an objective way. You shouldn't have a personal opinion in there. Also, the structure, that is based on the scope and demands of the topic. Again, if it is a university student assignment, you might ask them to write 5 or more based on the scope of the topic, and we discussed this before. If it is a high school student, you could ask them to write 4 paragraphs or 5. If it is a middle school, you could ask them to write 3 paragraphs, and it's fine. 3 paragraphs is a good essay, okay, for a middle school student. Now, a common structure, as we mentioned, it will be the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Okay. I have something here to share with you. Okay. If we have a topic, okay, looking at this statement here, an expository essay should take an objective approach. It's not about your personal opinion or experiences. Instead, it's the goal. Instead, your goal is to provide an informative and balanced explanation for the topic. One of the topics might be define the word free speech and explore how it is used today. Okay. Do I need the writer to explain it from their point of view, or how should they approach it? Okay, Abdul Majid, have a question here, and I'd like you guys to help me out. How many sentences does the paragraph have at least? Before we just forget about the free speech topic, how many sentences should we include in a paragraph? Could you please type the answer, or you can raise your hand if you wanted to speak out? Manal says 3. And I'd like you to defend your argument, Manal. Tell me why 3. I think 7 at least. Sarah says 7. Manal says 3 at least. Why 7 and why 3? Not a specific number. This is Iman. 120 words sometimes. This is Isra. Okay, I'm waiting. We have 19 people here, so we're waiting for 19 answers. How many sentences should a paragraph include? At least. It depends on the topic and your ideas as well. This is Sama. One of the introduction, one to clarify, to another to conclude. Okay, so we're looking at one paragraph, Manel. How many sentences should be in a paragraph to express the ideas? 5, at least 10 sentences. The point is mainly about ideas. I like how you put this, Iman, and I'd like you, if you're okay with that, unmute yourself and explain, and tell us more about how it is related to the ideas. If you're okay, if not, you can type your answer and we can read it.
Hello.
Hello, go ahead.
Hello. Hello, Mr. I think it's mainly about the point is mainly about the ideas, not the number of sentences. Just because you can deliver your ideas by using many sentences, and on the other hand, sometimes you can deliver it by using um, less sentences. But we have like a framework to go through. So at least we will have in the paragraph like maybe 4 or 5 sentences, or 3 at least.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Ahmed.
Thank you for giving me the chance to talk.
It's my pleasure. So as many supporting details you can order, formulate, and write as long as it is in moderation. In other words, depend on how many sentences are required in the topic to be covered. Do it perfectly, 1, maybe 5 sentences. Okay, perfect. This is perfect answer, Ahmed. So it depends on how the answer for this question varies. So if you want this answer to your students in the classroom, in school, ask them to write 5 at least. If you want this answer for yourself to understand it, 1 sentence can be a paragraph. So what is a paragraph? A paragraph is a unit of writing we create in order to communicate one idea. So 1 sentence can be enough. If you're writing an email to your boss, okay, and you wanted to greet him or her, you would say, "Dear Mr. So-and-so, I hope my email finds you well." Full stop. This can be considered as a paragraph. And we use it as a paragraph in CELPIP, which is the Canadian language test. This is a paragraph. Perfectly fine. Okay? So it varies, depends on how many ideas, okay? How many ideas you need to communicate. So 1 idea means 1 paragraph. If you can communicate it in 1 line, perfect. If you needed more details to explain it, then you can add more details. When we're talking about the paragraph unit, the session of the paragraph, we said paragraph should include a topic sentence, background information or detailing sentences, and then a concluding sentence. So this is usually what we introduce to students. So if you look at that, one will be 1 sentence as a topic and 1 sentence as a conclusion. These are 2, and at least 3 sentences as details. And I hope this answered the question. Abdelmajid, do you
Dr.
want to
Sadouni, yes, I'm with you. Yes, it was a question in grade in 3 in secondary school. This question was in grade 3 in secondary school, but I was confused to answer. It was like this: how many sentences does the paragraph have? 1, 2, 3, or 5? Yeah, or 4 or 5. I was confused to answer because it depends on the idea of paragraph, or the paragraph has mainly basic sentences, or has a specific number of sentences.
That's right. And let me tell you something. This is a dumb question, because we don't. What's the benefit of students knowing how many paragraphs, in how many lines or how many sentences in a paragraph in a high school diploma? Why don't you ask them to write a paragraph, and then they can communicate what's how many sentences are in a paragraph? Back again, this is a question just to You know, it's a kind of rote learning. Students are memorizing things to go and vomit them in the test. I'm sorry to say that, but this is very, very dumb. All right, thank you. Yeah, Samah, this is the way. It's not only in Egypt, it's in the Middle East generally. And I was teaching there and I was a student there. And this makes people, frames people's minds. Just go ahead and memorize how many lines, and students get panic attacks in the test because they forgot it's 3 lines or 5 lines. It's just stupid. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for this. You know, guys, you are the hope now. You are teachers. You have students. Teach your students there is no correct answer. It doesn't mean, I don't mean that. There is no specific correct answer to a specific question. Rote learning, yeah, I can agree with when they memorize words, vocabulary, like to say he is happy, he went out with his friends. That's okay to memorize what's happy. But for a question like that, it's just bad. It's the writing question. We don't test writing by questions, okay, like that. We can give them a paragraph and ask them to complete it, maybe. Find the relevant sentence. Where is the topic sentence? Where is the concluding sentence? Yeah, I'm sorry for that. All right, so back again. One sentence can be a paragraph. For your students, you can say 5 sentences. And I think this is what they meant. So 5 is like a good piece, you know? It's like a sandwich. Anyways, going back to... Okay, let's just skip this question because we have lots to cover. Now, this is the introduction. I'd like you to identify the hook, the background information, and the thesis statement. Where is the hook? And what type of the hook, what type of a hook is this? This is an essay. This is an introduction. And I'd like you to tell me where is the hook. Can we consider a conclusion to be a paraphrasing part of the introduction? I wouldn't answer this question, Ahmed. I'd like somebody to help me out with this one. Can we guys look at this question that Ahmed posted now? Can we consider a conclusion to be a paraphrasing part of the introduction? All right, Amani, that's right. Your answer is right. I'd like you to focus on the question Ahmed posted now. Manal says, yeah. And I'd like you to give me more details why it's yeah or why it's nay. You can unmute yourself or raise your hand, then you will be able to talk. Reed says, yeah, it's recapturing of the thesis. I'd like you to read the question carefully. The question that Ahmed posted, read it carefully. Amani says, yeah. We have Iman. Go ahead, Iman. Unmute yourself and talk, please.
Yes, doctor. It's a big yes, actually, because we can consider the concluding sentence to be a part of the conclusion. It's mainly a kind of paraphrasing the main idea of the paragraph. And we can consider it like an introduction to something else. Sometimes, if we can do this, it can be better. I think that's my opinion.
So let me read the question again, Iman. Can we consider a conclusion, which is a conclusion of an essay, to my understanding, be a paraphrasing or rephrasing part of the introduction? So the question in a different way, what is the relation between the conclusion and the
Conclusion,
introduction?
yeah. The conclusion is mainly like retelling the introduction. In other words,
Is it retelling the introduction only, or
um,
what I mean here is,
gathering all the main points of the essay, and mainly we introduce the main idea in the introduction, and we paraphrase it in the conclusion, and we gather some other pieces of information in the conclusion too. So I can say that the conclusion is much more comprehensive than the introduction.
so are they related or not?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
They are related. Is it a rephrasing of the introduction or not?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
so
my opinion.
okay, thank you so much. Let me read other answers here. Yeah, it's recapturing
Welcome,
of the
Doctor.
thesis. Thank you. Yeah, as both have the main ideas. Abdul Majid said that. I think no, because usually conclusion is the recap of the whole essay without adding any new ideas. That's very close to the answer. Samah, for the conclusion, we may paraphrase the main topic, right? Summary of what we mentioned in the introduction. Yeah, no, I think it gives what we want to convey. Goma, if you can you please just explain more of this? A way to say goodbye and a way to sum up your ideas. That's a good way. No, because the conclusion is like a summary of, not paraphrasing. All right, so the answer here is neither yes or no, because in the conclusion, you sum up or you summarize the main points of the whole essay. Sometimes in the introduction, you don't mention everything about your topic, sometimes. And this depends on the type of the thesis you have. We have two types of theses. First type is a direct thesis, where we mention the topic and what the reader will be finding. Egypt is a very good country in education because, one, there is a limited number of students in classes. They are using technology in education, and teachers are happy. These are three reasons. When I read the body, I will find these three reasons. Okay? So when I go to the conclusion, I can rephrase that. Okay, these three ideas in the in the introduction. Or if I have a different type, of a thesis, which is an indirect thesis, I wouldn't include that. So I would say in the introduction, Egypt is a good country in education for several reasons. Here I didn't mention the reasons. So in the conclusion, I can't say Egypt is a good country for several reasons. I can't rephrase it because it will not include the pieces I needed to include. To avoid that, you look at the topic sentence of each body paragraph, because these are the main ideas, and then summarize them, rephrase them, or paraphrase them, and put them in your introduction. And here you concluded, or you summed up all the information in the essay. I hope this answered your question. Okay, so the first sentence is a hook. Yeah. Yes, both have the same idea. Yeah, we have answered this question. I think no, because I think I've covered all of these, because the conclusion is like a summary, not a paraphrasing. That's right, Abdul Majid. Thanks, Ahmed. Thank you so much. Now, moving to this activity quickly, where is the hook? Where is hook, and what are the background information, and where is the thesis statement? Hook in many years. Perfect. And it ends in ages. Perfect. That's correct, Manal. In many ways, the invention of printing press marked the end of the Middle age. What type of hook is this? The first sentence is the hook. That's perfect, Sarah. What type of hook? Fact. Perfect, fellow. This is a strong fact. So usually we can use a strong fact, we can use fact, sorry. We can use a question, we can use a quote, we can use an anecdote or a short story as a hook. Perfect. That's not a problem, Sarah. You just review the slides and you'll find all of these. Now moving to the second part, which is the background information, and it will be the section. And the last section will be our thesis statement. And this is the thesis statement, starting from the word, the invention of the printing press in the 15th century allowed for much less restricted circulation of information in Europe, paving the way for the Reformation. Thank you, Sarah. All right, so moving on to the body. This is one body paragraph. Can someone identify the topic sentence? And we mentioned before a topic sentence can be the first sentence, the last sentence, or it can be in the middle. I need somebody to identify the topic sentence here. What is the topic sentence in this body paragraph? I know it will take some time. If you wanted, you can unmute yourself and speak up. That's wonderful. That's correct. Perfect, Samah. Perfect, Salwa. Perfect, Isra. Printing press. Which one do you mean, Isra? Is it the first sentence? It's actually the first sentence, the first one. The invention of the printing press in the 1440 changed the situation dramatically. This is the topic sentence. I told you what will be included in the paragraph, but I didn't tell you the details. If you read the details starting from Johannes Gutenberg till the end of the details or the explanations, you will find how I supported this. Perfect. That's perfect. Now, this will be our thesis topic sentence, and then we come to the explanation or details. And after that, this will be the last sentence, and it will be a concluding sentence or a transitioning sentence. I'd like you to tell me what kind of sentence is that. Is it a concluding sentence or a transitioning sentence, and why? We mentioned that at the end of a body paragraph, we can have a concluding sentence for the body paragraph or a transitioning sentence. Why is it a concluding or a transitioning sentence? It starts with the word Gutenberg. Why, Salwa? Why is this a transitioning sentence? A good way to test that. Look at this sentence and find if there is anything that was not mentioned here. So this last sentence, Gutenberg's invention rapidly transformed cultural production in Europe. Among other things, it would lead to the Protestant Reformation. This sentence, is a conclusion for the whole paragraph, or is it a transitioning sentence? Perfect, Selwa. Sarah, concluding sentence. Okay, do you find anything here related to Protestant Reformation in this paragraph? Or the proof? Okay, so since we don't have anything related to Protestant Reformation, so this sentence is taking us to the next paragraph. It is paving the way, as Salwa mentioned, to the other pieces of information about Protestant Reformation. Perfect. So this is a transitioning sentence. You can call it a concluding sentence sometimes, but we understand that it is a transitioning or transitional sentence because it takes us to the next paragraph, right? All right. So looking at this concluding paragraph, it's a bit different. Perfect. We can do that in the transitioning sentence because we are just referring to what will come after in the next paragraph, right? This is a concluding paragraph, and it's made differently. It's a yeah, it is a sum up for the main ideas, and then a strong statement or a recommendation, but they are put differently here. And I'm very interested in showing you this. And because this is another technique of writing a concluding paragraph. You can start with the general idea without mentioning specifics. Then you go to specifics, specific details from what you've read, from what you have written about in the body. And then you can end with a strong sentence, strong statement that wraps up the whole piece. So where is the general idea? There are some sentences here where the writer generally mentioned how the invention of printing press was good or was significant or was important. Can you identify these sentences? It will be on the top for sure. But where does it end? The beginning one. That's perfect, Ahmed. Where does it end? Where does the section of the general ideas end? In Europe. This is a good guess. Perfect. That's right. That's right. In Europe. Samah said in Europe. That's correct. The first across Europe. That's perfect. And this is a broad summary. Okay. It is in this sentence, the writer just introduced the conclusion by speaking about the topic generally. Okay. Without mentioning any specifics. Okay. Now we will move to an overview of the specifics. We know that it will start here, right? But where does it end? Where does the overview of the specific ideas mentioned in the essay end? You can just mention the word. That's perfect, Abdul Majid. That's correct. I'm sorry, I'm just sneezing over here. You know, it's one sentence. It starts in the word in the century and it ends at the Renaissance, right? So it's basically here. I'll give you 1 minute to read this. Right, so this will be our second section of the summary. And here we go with the last sentence, which is the strongest sentence in the paragraph. We call it a takeaway if you want it. It ends with this. Usually we end the conclusion with a strong sentence. Excuse me. It emphasizes the significance and interest of what has been discussed. So everything that was mentioned in this essay will be here in this sentence. A single technological invention had contributed to the total reshaping of the content. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so here is how we can structure any essay. You start with an introduction, where we start with presenting your topic through a hook, provide background information, and then give your thesis statement. Then you go to the body, and here you mention the core arguments or analysis. You present your evidence if you want it, if you have an evidence-based essay, and then you go to one main point per paragraph, one idea, one paragraph. You mention it in the topic sentence. You give support to it in the supporting sentences. You conclude or transition in the concluding or transitioning sentence. All paragraphs should be related to the thesis, because this will ensure that you have a unity. Make sure that your sentences, your ideas are connected, so it's coherent and there is a cohesion in the whole thing. Conclusion, it ties together your main points, and then you show why your argument matters. Okay, so far so good. All right, I think we're over time. We are over time now. Okay, we stop here. I know we've been postponing the sentence type for a while now, but I promise next time we start with this. Okay, we have already covered the first part, which is compound sentences. We will be looking at the complex sentences and compound complex sentences next time. Okay, all right, thank you so much, guys. If you have any question, you can go ahead and ask it now. If not, enjoy your evening.